Imagine this. You wake up, check your phone, markets are up. Your loan balance is still there. And suddenly you're stuck between two voices. One says, invest, that's how money grows. The other says, kill the debt, peace of mind matters. Both sound smart. Both sound responsible. Only one is usually wrong. And the uncomfortable part? Most people who give advice on this have never actually done the math that decides it. They repeat slogans. They follow vibes. They confuse feeling productive with being correct. Today we're going to talk about the F2 rule. Not a hack, not a trick. A filter, a way to decide, calmly, whether investing or paying off a loan actually puts you ahead. And once you see it, you'll never hear this debate the same way again. Because this question isn't really about money. It's about how quietly expensive confusion can be. Right now, debt is normal. Investing is glorified. Interest rates are no longer a joke. And millions of people are doing both at the same time. Without realizing they're working against themselves. They invest a little. They owe a lot. They feel smart. They are stuck. Let's rewind. You take a loan. Student loan, car loan, mortgage, credit card. On paper, it's simple. Borrow money now. Pay it back later with interest. That interest is the price of time. Now investing is also simple. Put money in assets, let time work. Earn returns. So the obvious question becomes, if my investment returns are higher than my loan interest, shouldn't I invest instead of paying the loan? That's the advice you hear everywhere. Why rush to pay off a 5% loan when the market average is 8%? Sounds logical, feels mature, often wrong. Because that comparison hides three things: risk, taxes, and behavior. And the F2 rule exists because of those three blind spots. Let's start with the uncomfortable math. Loan interest is guaranteed. If your loan says 6%, that 6% will happen whether you feel optimistic or not. Investing returns are not guaranteed. That 8% average is not a promise. It's a historical summary. Over decades, with drawdowns that test people emotionally. So the first mistake people make is comparing a certain cost to an uncertain gain. That alone should make you pause. But it gets worse. Because loan interest is paid with after-tax money, investment returns are often taxed. That 8% isn't really 8%. After taxes, fees, and inflation, it might quietly shrink to 5% or 4% or less. Suddenly that comparison flips. And this is where the F2 rule enters. F2 stands for friction factor 2. It's the idea that debt and investing don't operate in the same psychological universe. Debt has friction. Investing has friction, but debt friction hits you twice. First, financially. Second, behaviorally. Here's what that means. When you carry debt, your future income is already spoken for. A slice of every paycheck is pre-spent. That creates pressure. Pressure changes decisions. People with debt are more likely to pull investments early, avoid risk when it matters, panic sell, miss compounding, use credit again. So even if the spreadsheet says investing wins, the human version often loses. The F2 rule says this: if your loan's interest rate plus behavioral friction is greater than your realistic after-tax investment return, paying the loan is the better move. Not emotionally better, mathematically better. Now let's make this concrete. Say you have a loan at 7%, and you believe you can invest and earn 9%. On paper, investing wins. But now apply friction. You pay taxes on gains. Let's say 20%. That 9% becomes 7.2%. Now apply volatility. Some years are down. Some are flat. You might not stick through all of them. Now apply behavior. Will you keep investing consistently while carrying debt stress? Will you avoid selling during fear? Will you not touch the money? Most people won't. So your real return might quietly fall below 7%. At that point, the loan is beating you. And it's beating you every single month. Silently, reliably. This is why people feel like they're doing everything right and still not getting ahead. They're leaking efficiency. Now here's the irony. The people who benefit most from investing early are the ones without financial friction. No high-interest debt, stable cash flow, emotional room to wait. The people who are told to invest no matter what are often the least equipped to absorb volatility. So the hype says one thing, reality says another. And the F2 rule forces honesty. It asks two questions. First, is the loan interest higher than a conservative, after-tax, stress-tested investment return? Second, is this debt creating decision pressure in my life? If the answer to either is yes, paying off the loan is not conservative. It's efficient. But wait, this doesn't mean all debt should be killed immediately. This is where nuance matters. Low-interest, fixed-rate debt behaves differently. A 3% mortgage locked for 30 years? That's not the same animal as a 22% credit card. The F2 rule isn't anti-investment, it's anti-self-deception. It says, stop pretending risk and certainty are equal. Now let's zoom out. Why does this matter beyond your wallet? Because entire systems are built on people misunderstanding this trade-off. Banks love when you carry debt and invest. They earn interest on the loan. They earn fees on the investments. You feel productive. They get paid twice. The system doesn't reward clarity. It rewards activity. More accounts, more transfers, more products, and confusion keeps money moving in predictable directions. That's not a conspiracy. That's incentives. And when interest rates rise, the cost of misunderstanding rises with them. What worked in low-rate decades quietly breaks in high-rate environments, but advice doesn't update as fast as reality, so people keep repeating old rules. Always invest early. Debt is normal. Time in the market beats everything. Sometimes true, sometimes expensive. Now here's the quiet twist. Paying off a loan doesn't just save interest. It increases your future investing power. Every payment you eliminate becomes optional capital. Flexible capital. Capital that can wait, that can take risk, that can compound without pressure. This is why people who clear high-interest debt often start investing better, not worse. They don't panic. They don't micromanage. They don't quit. Freedom changes behavior, and behavior changes outcomes more than spreadsheets admit. The F2 rule isn't flashy. It won't go viral in finance textbooks, but it explains something most people feel but can't articulate. Why progress feels slow. Why effort doesn't equal results. Why doing both often feels like doing neither well. So here's the unresolved part. What if the real question isn't invest or pay off the loan? What if the real question is, which decision reduces friction in your future choices? Because money doesn't just grow from returns. It grows from clarity, and the more debt quietly pulls on your attention, the harder it is to let time work. So before you chase growth, ask what's slowing you down, and whether the smartest move right now is earning more or removing what's already costing you.